Good morning. My name is Jamil Dakwar. I'm the director of the ACLU Human Rights Program. This was Mohammed Shuraiya bin Saud from Libya, father of 3, who is still trying to rebuild his life and seek accountability and justice. Would like to share with you some of the recommendations that we have for the US government, and would like to also the Commission to consider those recommendations. While we strongly support the call of this Commission that was made on December 12, 2014, to the United States to carry out a full investigation in order to clarify the facts and prosecute and punish all persons within its jurisdiction responsible for acts of torture and ill treatment, and to provide reparations to victims, we are also very disappointed that very little progress has been made towards the goal of ending impunity and providing legal redress to victims of torture. We therefore make the following recommendations. The US must ensure that all cases of torture and other ill treatment, including forced disappearances, especially those documented in CIA torture report, are effectively, independently, and impartially investigated through the appointment of a special prosecutor to conduct a comprehensive criminal investigation, including all acts authorizing or ordering unlawful conduct. With regard to the right to truth and transparency, the US must release documents relating to enforced disappearance, torture, and mistreatment of detainees, including the following: declassification and release of the full Senate torture report, the declassification and release of a memorandum issued by President Bush on September 17, 2001, authorizing the CIA to establish secret overseas interrogation facilities. 3, the declassification and release of hundreds of CIA cables describing the use of waterboarding and other forms of torture. On official apology and reparations, the United States should publicly acknowledge and apologize to victims of the US torture program. The US should appoint an independent body to provide compensation and rehabilitation services to those who suffered torture and other ill treatment in the CIA torture program. On the legislative reform, the US should reform laws that deny victims the right to truth, justice, and reparations by specifically passing legislation that limits the circumstances in which the US government can invoke the state secrets doctrine, and repeal laws that limits victims' access to legal redress, including under Section 7 of the Military Commission Act. Meanwhile, the US executive branch should refrain from invoking the state secret privilege as an alternative form of immunity that has been used to shield the government and its agent from accountability for violations of the Constitution and international law. As to the processing of cases, we also call on this Honorable Commission to expedite the review and processing of pending petitions filed on behalf of victims of the CIA torture program, which raise critical issues concerning denial of legal remedies and right to effective remedy. By doing so, the Commission will provide survivors an historic opportunity to hold the US accountable to tell their story and to seek appropriate redress consistent with international law. Finally, we call on the Commission to consider preparing a thematic report on the right to legal remedies and reparations for victims of human rights violations committed in the name of national security. Thank you for your attention.